All right, wish you a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're all welcome to today's edition of SaleskiPathshala. And the topic that we have curated for today is learn to handle 25 most common excuses from salespersons. It's very interesting, isn't it? Why are we talking about excuses? Because normally one would feel that there is no reason to talk about excuses. Excuses should be dealt with an iron hand. And why should we even entertain excuses from salespersons? I would like to tell you at this stage that excuses are many a times genuine. And that is where the entire problem starts, because many a times the excuses from the customers are genuine, or rather from the salespersons are genuine, or at least it appears as genuine. And as sales managers or as CEOs of our company, many a times we don't have any clue as to how we could have solved it ourselves had it been that we were in that same position. And this today's program is basically curated with that perspective in mind, that it is not only an HR or an admin initiative that we are talking about. We are talking about the ability, or rather the capability of the sales manager, or in case of SME, MSME, the capability of the SME CEO to give valid reasons, to give a valid sense of direction, or to give a valid way forward, that if my salesman is stuck up with these excuses, then how does he, how do you advise him to take the next step forward? Or how do you really advise him to take his case ahead? Because many a times you will find that your sales team is stuck up with many of these excuses. You yourself do not have a clue as to how to go ahead with these excuses. And you are left in a catch-22 situation. You cannot take a decision to remove the salesperson because you do not have any viable alternative. And at the same time, you do not know exactly what to advise to the salesperson so that he could take the discussion forward. Today, we have put the sound channels on mute. So I'm afraid you will not be able to talk. But the only channel which is open for all of you is the chat box. So please go to the chat box and write yes or no, whether you agree with me or not. Just write a yes or no, whether you agree with me or not. Okay, I got a yes from Sanjay Agarwal. Okay, Kapil, yes. Aditya Daga, Joe, Shamik Vora, you're all welcome to the program. Rama Subramanyam. All right, guys, you're welcome. Thank you so much. So the context is set. The context for today's program is, when I have a sales team, they come up with reasonings, oblique excuses, and many a times I don't know how to take it forward. Fantastic. So I'm going to share 25 very common excuses put by salespeople. Yes, I'm going to share. Just give me a moment. Let me put my screen on. All right. So is my screen visible to all of you? Can you just put it on the chat box? Yes. Is my screen visible? Is my audio clear? Just put a yes in the chat box. All right. Very good. Screen is visible. My audio is clear. My video is clear. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dheeraj. Ajay Sanghi, you're welcome. Sudeep Sikdar, Deepak Chatterjee. All right, fantastic. We're all set to go, my friends. Learn to handle 25 most common excuses of salespersons. That's a topic which you can see on the screen now. Fantastic. Excuse number one. Often you've heard your salespeople say that, sir, I'm unlucky. I'm trying my best. I'm actually putting in my best, but it's just that I'm being unlucky. Have you heard that before? Yes. So when your salesperson comes and tells you I'm unlucky, What exactly do you do? Or why do you think? And let's give the salesperson a benefit of doubt. Let's assume for a moment that what he's saying is right. He's unlucky. That means that he is meeting a lot of clients and he takes them to a level, but for some reason or the other, he's not able to close the deals. So let's assume for the moment he's actually unlucky. Now, as a SME CEO or as a sales manager of the salesperson, what will you advise him? If you look at this, a salesperson's success depends on what is the pre-qualification of the leads in his sales funnel. And in our earlier programs, we have explained to you that there are three different kinds of leads. So the first lead is MQL, then SQL, and BANT. And MQL stands for Marketing Qualified Lead, which means that the customer has willingness to buy. Then SQL is Sales Qualified Lead, which means that along with willingness, you have the capability and urgency to buy. And BANT is an acronym which stands for Budget, Authority, Need, and Time Frame. So without getting into the technicalities of those words, simply put, जैसा एक पेड़ पे आम लगता है तो पहले कच्चा आम लगता है, फिर थोड़ा पक जाता है, फिर एकदम पूरा पक जाता है. So similarly in the sales, when the salesman starts meeting customers, so he gets leads, जो कच्चा lead, थोड़ा पका lead, पूरा पका lead. That's what I mean by MQL, SQL, and BANT. Now, when you feel that your salesperson is feeling that he's unlucky, try and go into the ratio of MQL to BANT leads. यानी कि उस salesman के funnel में, उस salesman के pipeline में, what is the ratio of कच्चा आम and पक्का आम? Because धंधा तो पक्के आम से आएगा, लेकिन ये भी जरूरी है कि कच्चा आम हो, क्योंकि कच्चा आम होगा तो ही कल जाके पकेगा. Which means that if the ratio of kacha aam and pakka aam is favorable, then he cannot be unlucky. But if this ratio is unfavorable, then he will be unlucky. And the guidance which you have to give as his manager is, let us see how we can convert this kacha aam into pakka aam very fast, because that is the only way you can become lucky. All right, excuse number one. And after every excuse, I would like you to write yes, which is a consonance that you are in agreement with me. So excuse number one, is it a yes or no? Okay, all right. Shamik is fast. Shamik, good. So let's move to excuse number two. And excuse number two is, I have often heard salespeople here, I was almost there, but did not finish. I was almost there. मतलब मैं 100 मीटर के रेस में एकदम 99 मीटर तक पहुंच गया था, but मेरा bad luck खराब था. I did not finish. I could not finish. Something happened. Something in the external world happened. And to such people, I normally say that success begins when you are comfortable at being uncomfortable. Mark my words, friends. You will be successful in sales only when you are very comfortable with your discomfort, which is what I mean, that you are continuously in action. The moment you get crashing into a comfort zone, you will find it very difficult to finish, because finishing a 100-meter race is all about breasting it out, all about pumping your adrenaline at the last moment and finishing it off. So excuse number two, these are the two kinds of people. What makes a great professional? People who say that I'm responsible for whatever happens to me. And what makes a loser? These are people who say that someone else is responsible for whatever happens to me. And I'm sure you don't want losers in your team. But normally, when people make this excuse, number two, I was almost there but did not finish, I normally try to separate the losers from the professionals in my team. And I counsel them that, guys, you and only you is responsible for whatever happens in your life. If you are looking for excuses in the external world to satisfy your problems, you are a loser, and I don't think you need to be a part of my team. All right, great. Moving on to excuse number 3. Let's see a yes for excuse number 2. Let's see a yes for excuse number 2, guys. That's on the chat box. All right, fantastic, fantastic. So excuse number 3, I'm sure I will do it the next time. Excuse number 3, I'm sure I'll do it the next time. So what do you do with such people? When you start reviewing your salespeople, they will come on the last day and with a very ek roni surat bana ke or with a lot of humility on their face and with a lot of humbleness, they will kind of suggest that, sir, give me one more chance. I'm sure I'll do it next time. And to such kind of people, there is this concept of fail. If you see, there is an acronym called FAIL, FAIL. It stands for first attempt in learning. So FAIL stands for first attempt in learning. I am not against salespeople who fail. I'm not against them. But I'm definitely against salespeople who do not learn from their failures, who do not make an attempt to learn from their failure. And I call this the fail index. So my suggestion, my recommendation to all those of you who manage salespeople in your team, try to calculate the fail index of your sales team, because the fail index will ensure that you do not listen to this, I'm sure I'll do it the next time. Because anyone who says I'll do it the next time, calculate his fail index and ask these 2 questions to yourself. Is this the first time someone is saying this? And what is the incremental improvement since the day that someone said the same thing last time? Are you with me there? Friends, we have to cover 25 excuses today. I'm just rushing it through. Can I see your response on the chat box for excuse number 3? Excuse number 3. All right. Shamik Vora is fast. He is the fastest finger there. All right. Fantastic. Lucky. Sudeep Sarkar. Aditya Daga. Rama. Jahir. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So excuse number 3. We are building up, man. The smaller excuse will now lead to the bigger excuses. So excuse number 4. Market conditions are bad. Many a times I find salespeople saying कि sir मैं अच्छा हूँ, मेरी product अच्छी है, लेकिन ये कमबख्त market बड़ा खराब है. और खास करके आजकल जो pandemic times चल रही है, so in this pandemic time, this is a very common excuse by salespeople that sir market conditions are very bad. Pandemic times, people are not coming out, people are not buying in. Well, to all those people who make use of excuse number 4, I would like to tell you that the opposite of bad is not bad. The opposite of bad is not good. So if you're trying to say that market conditions are bad today, that does not mean that tomorrow they will become not bad. Are you with me? So the opposite of bad is not good. So if you declare that today the market is bad, and if you try to construe that tomorrow the market will become good, I think you need a class in semantics. I think you need a class on logic, on deductive logic, because the opposite of bad is not good. The opposite of bad is not bad. Are you with me? So market conditions are never bad. The attitude and the enthusiasm of the sales team and salespeople are many a times bad. So excuse number 4, shall I move forward? Do I have a yes from you on excuse number 4? All right, there's someone called Panthor, Vijay Doseja, Dharampal, Shamik. Okay, Shamik says this is the most common one. Yes, Shamik, I do agree with you that this is the most common one. All right, very good. Fantastic, guys. It's super awesome, exciting to be talking to all of you on this webinar mode. So moving on. So what I was trying to say, and since Shamik said that this is one of the most common one, market conditions are bad. So attitude decides the altitude in sales. So market condition can never be bad. It is your attitude which decides how you take it forward. Let me give you a few examples. When the pandemic time started, The business of organizations like Zomato, Swiggy just went for a toss. For 4 months, no one was ordering food. And companies like Zomato and Swiggy did not show a negative attitude. They went ahead and they said that let me add new business to my business line of products. And to cut the long story short, Zomato started delivering grocery to individual houses. Now, by doing that, what did they show? They showed a huge attitude. They said that I don't want to make my courier boys or my motorcycle boys unemployed. I don't want to lose out on my agents. So let me look at something which can be delivered to the households. And in the process, I continue to maintain my business. And shortly, Swiggy started on the lines of Zomato as well. So if you see, there is always an opportunity. I always say that problem and opportunity are two sides of the same coin. So if you want to attack opportunity or if you want to fall in love with opportunity, always go and attack problem. एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू हैं. अगर आप प्रॉब्लम को प्रोएक्टिवली अटैक करेंगे तो आपको हमेशा सिक्के के दूसरे तरफ अपॉर्चुनिटी दिखेगी. So do not say market conditions are bad. Look inwards and try to understand how can you innovate, how can you do something new to stay relevant in the market. Fantastic. Excuse number 5. And this is again very common. Excuse number 5. The market is saturated. The salesman will come and say, sir, most of the market is saturated and most of the people have bought the products. I find it very difficult to look for new customers. And this is so crazy. This is so crazy, isn't it? Normally, if I'm handling a sales team and if the team comes and tells me that the market is saturated, and I want to tell you a live story. I used to be the coach of ICICI Bank national sales team way back in 2001 when the bank had launched itself through the direct selling process. And I'm still a coach for ICICI Bank. So at that juncture, there was a huge amount of market, helter-skelter everywhere. People were buying loans and credit cards and housing loans and auto loans and so on and so forth. Fast forward 2015, and the low-lying fruits had gone, and the salespeople of ICICI Bank started saying that, hey, the market is getting saturated. And this is the time when this logic was shared with them. If the market is of 100 units and you sell the first 100 units, markets can never get saturated for you. Please see the logic. The entire market is of 100 units. And let's assume that as a salesman, your target is 10 units. Now, you cannot say that the market is saturated till such time the market potential becomes 10 units or less than 10 units. What I'm trying to say is market is saturated for those salesmen who are lethargic, who do not know how to take the first mover advantage, who do not ensure that out of the units of products sold in the market, their unit should be the first units to be sold. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Let me get your feedback on excuse number 5. On the chat box, please. Excuse number 5. All right, I get a Tribs. There is a question from Tribs. Market saturated, biggest excuse in small European Gulf countries. Gartner's share of wallet method is a very good counter. All right, Tribs, I like your idea. Gartner's share of wallet method. I think that's what I tried to explain in a very contemporary language. So thank you very much, Tribs, for Gartner's share of wallet method. All right, and do I have, I have Elon Musk amongst us. Oh, that's a good idea to have. Elon Musk, congratulations. All right, fantastic. So those of you who have seen the message from Tribs on the chat box, you can make a note of Gartner's wallet share. And you can Google Gartner's wallet share. And I'm sure that will give you a good idea of how to counter market saturation. Thank you for that response, Mr. Tribs. All right, guys, let's move on to excuse number 6. And excuse number 6 is the buying power of customers has come down. Now, there are companies like McKinsey, there are companies like AC Nielsen, there are companies like ORG Mark, which will charge you nothing less than 10 crores to calculate the buying power of customers for you. Now we have these sales managers working with us whose salary ranges from 25,000 to 1 lakh per month. They come and announce. I mean, they don't need a AC Nielsen or they don't need an ORG Mark to find out. They just come and announce blatantly that the buying power of customers has come down. And I normally want to ask them that how the hell did you calculate this? How did you arrive at this conclusion in the first place? Is it a gut feeling or is it backed by some kind of data? And to top it all, this should be a concern of the marketing department. So the buying power of customer, whether it's coming down or not, is something which the marketing department is following up very closely. For SMEs and MSMEs where there is no marketing department, I'm sure as a Chalak Malak, you are doing that. So don't entertain or don't allow your salespeople to get into a buying power discussion because it's so frivolous, it's so fruitless, it's not backed by any kind of data. And this is not something that anyone can calculate, right? So moving on to excuse number 7. And before I move on, the customary acknowledgement of excuse number 6 on the chat box, please. All right, Kapil finds that interesting. All right, thank you, Kapil. All right, Sneha. Okay, great, wonderful. Excuse number 7. My brand is not known. My marketing department is useless. Have you heard that excuse from your sales team? So they'll go around announcing that, sir, main kaisa dhanda karunga? How the hell am I going to do my business? Because my marketing department is doing nothing. ब्रांड अगर मार्केट में नोन ही नहीं होगा तो मैं कैसे बेचूंगा? Sales is not expected to do the job of marketing. Have you heard that excuse before? Well, if I'm handling a sales team and if my team makes that excuse, I normally advise them that, guys, let us be professionals, let us not be losers. So let us believe in the statement that whatever happens to me, I am responsible for it. So if my brand is not known in the market, and even if I assume that this is true, instead of waiting for my marketing department to popularize my brand, I would rather like to go ahead and conduct below the line activities to make my brand popular in the market. And for those of you who do not understand what is BTL, what is below the line, so there is an imaginary line in the language of marketing. Any expense incurred which directly affects the brand image and indirectly affects sales is called above the line. Any expenditure incurred which directly affects sales and indirectly affects brand image is called below the line. And below the line, so if you participate in an exhibition, if you do a road show, if you do a webinar, seminar, are all examples of BTL. If you do a paper ad, a TV ad, electronic ad, a hoarding, a kiosk, these are all examples of ATL. And BTL is primarily the responsibility of sales and ATL is primarily the responsibility of marketing department. So whenever someone complains that my brand is not known and my marketing department is useless, I normally try to find out, or rather I normally try to advise them to conduct below the line activities to make your brand popular. All right, fantastic. Let's move to, okay, let me have the customary acknowledgement for excuse number 7. Yes, excuse number 7. And guys, don't hold your questions back. Don't hold your questions back. So Shamik puts a question that BTL is sales responsibility. Yes, Shamik, I'm speaking from a SME perspective. In a small and medium enterprises, you really do not have the bandwidth to give BTL to marketing. So an SME, MSME, I will always put BTL as a responsibility of sales. Technically, ATL, BTL is responsibility of marketing, but that's for a corporate. In a SME, yes, Shamik, if I have answered your question, just put a yes in the chat box. Okay, Shamik agrees to me. All right, good there. Okay, fantastic. Excuse number 8. My competitors have got better products than mine. I'm sure you have heard that. They say that मैं तो अच्छा हूं, मेरी काबिलियत अच्छी है, मेरा हुनर भी अच्छा है, बट आपने जो प्रोडक्ट बनाया उसमें दम नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे कंपटीटर्स ने जो प्रोडक्ट दिया है मार्केट में, they are far far better than what you have given. So I am not bad, your product is bad. That's the excuse that many a time the salespeople make. I normally tell to the salespeople that, gentlemen and ladies, the day you prove this fact beyond doubt, the day you prove this fact beyond doubt that competitors are making product better than me, the first thing that will happen is I'll sack the sales team. Isn't it? Because अगर ये बात सिद्ध हो जाती है कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट अच्छा नहीं है, हमारा ऑफरिंग अच्छा नहीं है, and it is not competitive enough in the market, the first thing I'll do is I'll sack the sales team and I'll go back to the drawing board and I'll start working on R&D to improve my product. Isn't it? देखिए दोस्तों, मैं तो पूरी जिंदगी सेल्स में रहा हूं, आप लोग भी सेल्स टॉपिक में इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, कभी भी ये सिद्ध करने की कोशिश ना कीजिए कि आपके कंपटीटर आपसे अच्छे हैं, क्योंकि जिस दिन ये सिद्ध हो गया आपकी नौकरी चली जाएगी. Just go to the chat box and write yes or no if you agree to me. Sudeep Sikdar says, then you have almost lost the battle without fighting it. I fully agree, Sudeep. I fully agree with you. All right, guys. So Rama says a dangerous yes. So I really don't know what he means by the word dangerous. Okay, I think he means dangerous because there's a chance of losing the job, right? So I always advise on excuse number 8. I always tell my sales team that there is a concept called VRIO model. VRIO. So if you go to Google and write VRIO, you will get a VRIO model. And V stands for are you valuable? R stands for are you rare? I stands for can your product be easily imitated? And O stands for is your organization fully aware of VRI? Now, VRIO is a tool to assess how good your product is. So today after the program, if you're really keen on it, just go to Google Auntie and type VRIO and you will get a lot of literature on it. So for people who are suffering with excuse number 8, I normally advise them to go and check out the VRIO model for their products, and that puts their excuse to rest. Okay, fantastic. Let me go to excuse number 9. So excuse number 9 is customers do not need my product. You know, a lot of salespeople will come and say that, मैं क्या करूं? मेरा product customer को चाहिए ही नहीं, तो मैं जबरदस्ती थोड़ी push करूं. How can I create a need? I cannot create a need. And to those customers, to those salesperson, my advice is that please understand what is an ideal customer profile. You know, there is this concept of ICP, and we have done this program in SaleskiPathshala earlier, where we had explained to you what is an ICP. So I always advise such salespeople that please go check out the ICP of your product and give priority to meet people who comply to ICP. All right, very good. So I'm just trying to share small tips with you so that it can help you in handling the salespersons better. And we are just midway. It's 4:30, 30 minutes gone on today's program. And my colleague, Mr. Charles, has posted a feedback form. So guys, please do not forget to fill the feedback form before you leave, because your valuable inputs helps us in curating good programs for you in the future. All right, good. Excuse number 9. Then quickly moving on to excuse number 10. And excuse number 10 is I am unable to match market prices. I am unable to match market prices. And my advice to such salespeople is go and do not do the mistake of comparing an apple with an orange, because you might be comparing the price of someone's apple with my orange. Try to do similarity between two likes. And I also advise them to get into the value selling process, because as long as you are selling a product, you will always lose the battle of price. The day you start selling value, you will never lose the battle of price. So it's a matter of training the sales team on value selling process, and also educating them that never compare an apple with an orange. So that moves us to excuse number 10, and quickly moving on to excuse number 11. Our samples are failing in trial at customer's end. Yes, our samples, and this especially happens in industrial selling where products are customized. And I can take example of master batch industry, because I know there are a lot of people in this program today who are selling master batches. And plastic master batch is, you need some kind of customization of chemistry before you can supply your master batch to a customer. And many a times I find sales managers saying that, what can I do? My samples are failing. So if my samples don't pass, then how the hell do I achieve my targets? Well, my advice to such people is always look for the right product to be fitted into the right process, to be supplied at the right price, which means that do a thorough need analysis of your customers. Do not just try to throw a cold drink to anyone who has got fever. Do not try to throw a paracetamol to anyone who has got a fever, because he may be having a COVID fever as well. So a thorough need analysis followed by a thorough process study will ensure that your samples do not fail. All right, good. Quickly, let me move on to excuse number 12. I need more manpower to achieve my sales targets. Have you heard this? I have heard this so many times. It is like, it's like a beggar saying that मैं अपना पेट तो पाल नहीं पा रहा हूं, but मुझे और 2-3 भिखारी दे दीजिए ताकि मैं सबका पेट पाल पाऊं. I'm sure you understand the analogy there. So I'm not trying to compare a salesman with a beggar, because I'm a salesman myself. What I'm trying to say, friends, if you get more manpower, you will also get more targets. Why do you think that company will give you more manpower for achieving the same sales target? Does that not make sense to you? A. B. How many manpower you get is a direct function of what is your outreach capacity. So if you are able to meet 5 new people every day, and if your target demands that you need to have a MNOC of 10, then to cover the balance 5, you either employ people or you have agents on board, right? So depending on the budgets. So never try to justify a failed target with not having enough manpower. All right, quickly rushing to excuse number 13. And excuse number 13 is, our poor customer service does not help us get referral business in the market. देखिए, तोहमत लगाने के कितने तरीके हैं. इसके पहले मैंने प्रोडक्ट पे तोहमत लगाई, फिर मार्केट पे तोहमत लगाई, फिर कस्टमर की बाइंग बिहेवियर पे तोहमत लगा दी, और अब मैं अपने कस्टमर सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट पे तोहमत लगाना चाह रहा हूं. अब महीने तो 12 ही होते हैं ना. There are only 12 months in a year. So even if I use one excuse in every month, I still am covered for the year. But will it take you anywhere is the question you need to ask yourself, my friend. So excuse number 13 is, our poor customer service does not help us get referral business in the market. I normally, when I encounter this question, I ask these 2 questions to them. Number 1, I ask, how many cases did you lose because of poor customer service? I want to know that. And second, would you like to shift to customer service department? When these are the 2 standard questions which I normally ask such people who try to blemish the customer service department. There can be scenario where actually the customer service department is poor or sometimes not existing. But that cannot be a reason for you not achieving the targets, right? So excuse number 13, we are midway. Out of 25 excuses, we have understood 13. Do I have a yes from you to move forward? I get a long message there from Ayush Kumar. Bala bala shaitan ka sala, bala bala Ravan ne hai pala. Okay, that's the Hindi. So, what are you trying to concur with this long song, Mr. Ayush? Ayush, can you write on the chat box what you exactly is the inference? Bala bala shaitan ka sala. Okay, you're trying to say that खाली फोकट भूत जगाना बंद करो, काम करना चालू करो. All right, I get your message there. All right, that's very interesting. So, excuse number 13, we are midway through, 28 minutes, or rather 33 minutes gone, 27 minutes remaining. Moving on to excuse number 14. And you see now, excuse number 14 is trying to look inward. So, excuse number 14 is, my product knowledge is not good enough. So, I find a lot of salespeople say, my product knowledge is not good enough, and hence, I am not able to convince my customer, and hence I am not able to sell my product. So you see, तोहमत की लड़ी में ये अगला तोहमत लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट पे आ गया या ट्रेनिंग डिपार्टमेंट पे आ गई कि आपने मुझे अच्छे से प्रोडक्ट ही नहीं समझाया है. So how do I convince the customer? Interesting, isn't it? So I normally advise FAB and FAQ. So as a SME, you must prepare an FAB, which is feature, advantage, and benefit. And you must prepare a frequently asked question. These are the two documents which every SME, MSME should prepare. And give enough training to ensure that FAB and FAQ is understood by your sales team. इससे ज़्यादा product knowledge किसी को नहीं लगता. इससे ज़्यादा product knowledge देने की कोशिश भी मत कीजिए, because you might end up overflooding the guy with knowledge, and too much knowledge is not good for the salesperson. That is the reason probably people who do PhD never become salespersons. Nothing against PhD, but people who do PhD never become salespersons. So that's excuse number 14. Quickly moving on to excuse number 15. And excuse number 15 is, I'm building my sales pipeline. You know, lot of salespersons would say that, sir, मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. आप देखना, एक दिन मैं तहलका मचा दूंगा. Just wait, because I am building my pipeline. मैं अभी लोगों को मिल रहा हूँ और यहाँ 1 करोड़ का, वहाँ 2 करोड़ का, वहाँ 5 करोड़ का. आप देखना, within 3 months, I'm going to bring 25 crores worth of business. Now, this is an excuse which is again very common. And normally I find people who are senior in sales making this excuse more often, because it's very difficult to shoo them off upfront. So they make this excuse of, I'm building my sales pipeline. So I normally advocate them that there is a concept of sales funnel ratios. So there's concept of suspect is to prospect ratio, prospect to lead ratio, lead to proposal, proposal to negotiation, and negotiation to order ratio. I would normally like to look at the sales funnel ratios and decide how robust your sales pipeline is. And to further substantiate my process, there is something called lead scoring. So there is a particular mathematics which gives you the lead scoring. Today we are not going to cover that. We have done it already earlier in our SaleskiPathshala. So the lead score, which is a number, and sales ratio, sales funnel ratio, which is also a number, the two numbers taken together, you will know for sure whether the person is actually building a sales pipeline or he's just trying to take you for a ride. Excuse number 16, my sales ecosystem is not healthy. My sales ecosystem is not healthy. You see, what does he mean? He means that मेरा लैपटॉप अच्छा नहीं दिया आपने, मुझे अच्छी मोबाइल नहीं दी है, आप लोग कोई CRM का सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं यूज करते हैं, I don't have any mechanism to track my leads, I do not have a mobile app through which I can do a dashboard study and then accordingly monitor my sales, and so on and so forth. This is what he means by saying that my sales ecosystem is not healthy. He also may be trying to say that there's a lot of politics in this organization and there is a lot of favoritism, there is a lot of red tapeism and blah, 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 blah. Now, this is also what he means by sales ecosystem is not healthy. Okay. Now, what do you do with this excuse? I always tell people that you never get what you deserve. I repeat, you never get what you deserve. You always get what you negotiate. So if your sales ecosystem is not healthy, negotiate for a healthy system, but don't crib on the sales ecosystem, because even if I assume for a moment that it is not healthy, it is internal. It still doesn't stop you to go externally and attack the customer. And as Mahatma Gandhi had said, that be the change that you want. Be the change that you want. All right, let me go to the chat box and see. There are some questions there. This happens. Preeta Luthra, she says that his voice is like Arnab Goswami. I don't know whose voice are you talking about, Preeta. Can you please write the name of the person? And Rahul says everything can be done through Excel. Okay. And Preeta says again, but due to Excel, we can't return his hair. His hair can be grown due to hair transplant. So Preeta, I really don't understand the context in which you got hair and hair transplant here. But towards the end of the program, when we open the chat, open the sound box, then maybe we can discuss it live. All right. So my sales ecosystem is not healthy. Be the change that you want and bring healthy practices into your sales ecosystem. Excuse number 17. And this is very funny and very interesting. Saurav Srivastav, I request you to put your video off, please. Please put your video off. I don't want any videos on. There's a bandwidth issue. We'll allow you to put your videos on towards the end of the program. Yeah, Saurav Srivastav, please put your video off. All right, thank you very much. So excuse number 17. My boss is not a role model. My boss is not a role model. Now, have you heard that my boss is not a role model excuse? And normally salespeople will make this excuse outside, behind the boss. कि यार मेरा boss ही बहुत कमीना है, मेरा boss ही बहुत ही useless है. He doesn't give the right guidance. He himself doesn't know what to sell. He always gives us the wrong guidance. Or when it comes to sales target, वो पीछे हट जाता है. He takes all the credit when it is good and he gives all the debits to us when it is bad. Now, this could be true and this could be false. But that doesn't matter. What I tell to such salespeople is, are you a role model subordinate? Before you say that my boss is not a role model, first ask yourself, are you a role model? Are you doing everything that is expected out of a smart subordinate? Do you expect your boss to spoon feed you? Many a times I have seen sales managers waiting for their bosses to put orders on their lap, almost to the extent of spoon feeding. So that definitely is wrong. So my boss is not a role model is a very stupid excuse. Even if it is true that the boss is not great, still it's a very stupid excuse. Fantastic, guys. We have 17 more minutes left, and I'm just looking at the chat box to check out if there are any unanswered questions. So I see a question from Shamik Vora there, which says that, but many organizations don't train. This is needed. I fully agree, Shamik. Training should be a part and parcel of the development process. There's a question from Rahul. I guess we should avoid excuses in any level, rather think for a solution. Full points to Rahul on that. Okay, what is the question? Oh, Preeta Luthra is talking about Sushant Singh Rajput. Preeta, chhod do yaar Sushant Singh Rajput ko. The entire news channel is after him. Let us keep him out of SaleskiPathshala. Okay, all right. Okay, Arnab Goswami ko bhi chhod dijiye. He's not a salesperson, and let's not be personal with anyone. All right. Okay. There's someone called Shaktiman who says no question. Okay. We have great people in the room today. We have a Shaktiman. We have a Elon Musk. Fantastic. Quickly moving on to excuse number 18. Excuse number 18 is leads from my office do not reach me. And these are sales managers who keep on cribbing that the receptionist normally passes all the leads to her favorite, or my boss passes all the good leads to good sales managers. I'm a fresher and no one gives any leads to me because my company feels that I may not be able to close the lead, and so on and so forth. Now, while signing your contract as a sales manager with the company, did you take a written undertaking that your company is going to give you leads and you are just supposed to close them? If yes, then I will be with you as far as excuse number 18 is concerned. If no, then it doesn't matter, my friend, whether your office is sharing the lead with you or not. Your office can have 10,000 reasons to decide whom they will share the lead with. But you cannot take this excuse to announce that you are not performing. Yeah, this is my personal opinion. Let me go to the chat box and see what is your personal opinion on that. Yes, on the chat box. So Shashank Akhare says that I was expecting some solutions rather than listing problems. So Shashank, we are trying to give a guideline as to how you should handle the problem. But still, is there any specific excuse that you want us to elaborate? Shashank, please write it on the chat box. All right. There is this person called Preetha who is bringing statements which are not in consonance with our discussion today. So Preetha, may I request you to avoid that? Yes, thank you so much. All right, wonderful. So yes, there was one gentleman who said that he is not getting enough guidance. So I just requested him that can you please specify the excuse on which you need more guidance? All right. Yes, Shashank Akhare, I would request you to put the particular excuse for which you need more guidance. Shashank, time is less and we are just trying to give you a sense of direction as to how you can handle it. Okay, Shashank says, normal excuse is we will see it in next meeting. All right. So that's procrastination, Shashank. That's beyond an excuse. So people who procrastinate or people who say that we'll see in the next meeting or we'll see in the next month or next quarter or next year are just trying to prolong the agony. Yes, very good. So Shashank, I'll still wait for any particular excuse on which you need more guidance. And I'll be happy to do that, friend. So moving on to excuse number 19. And now excuse number 19 is I'm unable to manage my time. So a lot of salespeople say, sir, काम तो बहुत है, करना भी बहुत चाहता हूँ, लेकिन कमबख्त समय नहीं मिल पा रहा है, बहुत ज़्यादा time management का issue आ रहा है. And when you talk to them that what is your problem on time, then somewhere they lead to कि सर आप इतने सारे reports बनवाते हैं, सर आप इतने सारे PowerPoints बनाने कहते हैं, वक्त ही नहीं बचता फील्ड जाने का. I don't get enough time to close the great pipeline that I'm carrying. Now, excuse number 19 can sometimes get very personal, friends. And my only advice to such sales managers is get disciplined. And the first place where you need to start studying your time management is through Stephen Covey's time management metrics, which says that focus on things when they are important but not urgent, so that very few things become urgent in your life. All right, excuse number 20. Moving on to excuse number 20. As we are inching towards the end of today's SaleskiPathshala, excuse number 20, my best prospects failed me. Now, here I always say that when you're talking of best prospects, then for me, technically, best prospects are those which qualify to be called as banned leads, period. So for those of you who do not know what is a banned lead, just go to Google Auntie and write BANT in capital letters, and you will see the acronym called Budget, Authority, Need, and Time Frame. Till such time the banned qualification is done to any lead, you cannot say that they are your best prospects. Fantastic. Excuse number 21. And this is very personal. Now, excuse number 21 is, I had personal problems this month. And you don't know what to ask. So I had personal problems this month. And sometimes when I ask, what is your personal problem? So it could be that I'm going under depression, or I'm having relationship issues, or I'm having some family issues or domestic violence and blah, 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 blah. While I appreciate that there could be personal problems in a person's life, but please remember that you collect a salary for selling at the end of the month, and you cannot offset it by saying that you're facing personal problems. Let's move on to excuse number 22. Now, excuse number 22 is directly targeted at the management. And excuse number 22 says, sales targets are unrealistic. अब आप क्या करोगे? आपके ऊपर ही उंगली उठा रहा है. उसका कहना है कि sales targets are unrealistic. You have unnecessarily fixed a target which you know cannot be achieved. And you're just trying to frustrate us. Your HR policies are bad. Your methodology of fixing sales target is poor. How have you given me such a high target? It's not possible. And to all such people who blame the sales target, I want to remind them of the rule of MNOC per day. And MNOC stands for minimum number of contacts per day. And RRR stands for required run rate. I don't have the time today to explain to you what is MNOC, but we have covered it in our earlier SaleskiPathshala. If you follow your MNOC per day, even God cannot stop you, but we'll check it out. So excuse number 22, sales targets are unrealistic. Follow the rule of MNOC, follow the rule of required run rate, and you are never going to face that problem. All right. Okay, very good. Excuse number 23, I'm unable to close even good leads. I'm just unable to close good leads. Now, please help me. Tell me how can I close good leads? Now, this can be a matter of training, because this could be something genuine, because I have seen that many a times new salespersons, they are not able to close. They are able to create leads, but they are not able to close good leads. So I'm unable to close even good leads. I think maybe a case of training there. And then quickly moving on to excuse number 24. And there they say that I did not keep track of my old leads. I did not keep track of my old leads. And this is normally happening in organizations where they say, अरे ये इस lead को तो मैंने 10 महीने पहले पता किया था. That time he did not buy, and now suddenly he came and bought it from my colleague. And just because I did not keep track of my old leads, should I suffer? Should I not be credited with that account? Well, to all such people and to all such organizations, I always advise that please introduce a CRM, a customer relationship management software in your system. Gone are the days where CRM software used to be costing 5 lakhs and above. Today, most of the best softwares which are CRM are available free, especially for SMEs and MSMEs, because the volume of business is low. So go for CRM automation so that you can keep on tracking old leads, because humanly it is not possible to track more than 7 leads. The moment the 8th lead comes into the system, you have a tendency to forget the first lead. And in today's marathon, we reached excuse number 25. And excuse number 25 is, I do not find the job of sales honorable enough, and hence I'm unable to give my best. Now, this is one excuse which is hitting directly on your self-esteem. So for all those of you who feel that sales is not a matter of pride, for all those of you who feel that sales एक ग्लानी की बात है, please go and check your skill will matrix. There are a lot of people who are skillful in sales, but they do not have the will to move out in the market. There are a lot of people who have the will to sell, but they do not have the necessary skill to move in the market. Either way, you have to balance your skill will matrix. And even once, or even for a moment, if you feel that sales is a dirty job, if you feel that sales is a job for losers, or if you feel that sales is something which is not glamorous enough for you, I beg you, please leave. Do not Do not mess around with sales, because this is not meant for weak hearts. This is not meant for people who are losers in life. This is definitely not meant for people who want to survive out of making excuses. I tried to summarize 25 excuses for you, ladies and gentlemen. These excuses is what I have been hearing and listening and sharing with fellow sales managers and people whom I coach and train. I just thought I'll create a compendium of these 25 sales excuses and guide you as to how you can counter these sales excuses. At the end of the program, I would like to say that excuses are made by losers. There's nothing called genuine excuse. So even if something is genuine, either you are making a genuine statement or you're making an excuse. There's nothing called genuine excuse. So my advice to all of you at the end of the program will be just do it. Just do it, because excuses will not take you anywhere. But if you understand the crux of the program, if you understand the crux of where we are trying to lead you to, you will know what we are talking about. So on that note, we still have 4 more minutes. I'll quickly go to the chat box and check out if there's any unanswered question. Okay, Shamik Vora says this was really useful. It provides a good direction. Thank you, Shamik. Joe says brilliant session. All right. Vijay Doseja not only enjoyed, got a lot of material. Okay. No question here. Okay, Sudeep Sikdar puts a question. Life is a sales, and every day we used to do it, whether in interview or in market or personal front. Fantastic, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the end of today's SaleskiPathshala. On behalf of Strategic Concepts India Private Limited, for all those of you who are coming for the first time today, I would like to inform you that SaleskiPathshala happens every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. And every Wednesday for the last 3 years, we have been talking on a new aspect of sales. In this series, in the upcoming Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m., we are going to talk on a topic which is called how to regain lost customers. So I'm sure you lose a lot of customers in your while. So how do you regain lost customers is the topic next Wednesday. So don't forget to patch up and join me in SaleskiPathshala next Wednesday on the topic, how do you regain lost customers? For now, this is the end of today's SaleskiPathshala, and I would request all of you to put your videos on now so that we can have a quick and active feedback session from all of you, and we know exactly what to get from all of you. All right, I can see 3rd, 4th, 5th. All right, videos getting on slowly. Okay. All right, so I think I have put the sound on. You can unmute yourself. And if there's any one of you who wants to make a feedback, please do the same. I want this to be unsolicited. I don't want to call anyone. So any one of you who wants to, welcome.
Sir, this is Gaurav, and I would like to know how to calculate this MNOC and RRR mathematically. How we calculate it?
All right, Gaurav, you can put that question in the feedback form link which we have just shared with you, so that I can share a blog with you on the subject. Only then you will understand it, Gaurav, because this is not a topic which you can understand in 1 minute. So share your email ID and put that question in the feedback form, Gaurav, and I'll share it with you. Is that good with you, Gaurav?
Sure, sir. I'll do that. Thank you.
Which company do you work for, Gaurav?
Sir, I was working for MOS Utility. It was an e-commerce company.
MOS.
So
Okay.
because of this, COVID situation, they have shut down the operation.
All right, cool. So you have seen the feedback link, right? You can go to the feedback link and put your question there. All
Sure,
right,
sir.
thank you so much, Gaurav. There any other feedback from anyone else who wants to talk? All right. Okay, I see a lot of new people today there. Shamik Vora, thank you very much for being very active today. Do you have any question to ask?
No, I feel that as a compendium, this was an excellent thing. So, okay, some of the excuses are more, more often than someone, but it's perfect. I mean, the whole list was so useful. I'm sure it will be useful. Thank you so much.
All right, so much. Thank you so much, Shamik. He's a HR consultant in his own right from Mumbai. So thank you very much, Shamik, for joining me in this program. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Strategic Concepts India Private Limited, I once again thank you for joining today's SaleskiPathshala. Looking forward to have you in my upcoming program next Wednesday. Take good care of yourself and don't forget to keep on washing your hands. COVID is still there, very much on our head. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you